Before we go crazy and start putting a whole bunch of values in, like stuff inside the phone, what we're going to do is we're going to give it an ID. So all we have to do is ID, and what we're going to give the ID is, how about we make it nice and simple and just type out calculator. Okay, so now it has an ID. We're in good shape. So now what we have to do is we have to create a text box. So we do that by putting input type equals text. And now we have to make the text box a little bit bigger. By default, it's not that big. So what we're going to do is we're going to give it a style and make it get a width. And what we're going to make it is 273 pixels. And now what we have to do is we want to make it right to left, not left to right. So we have to type in OTL, and then what we have to do is make it read only. So read only equals read only. Then we're going to type in ID so we can control it in JavaScript, and we're going to give it an ID of text box, and I'm going to give it a name. So this is what it's being sent to the PHP file as, and I'm going to give it a name as number 1, and then we're going to put a slash. So let's see this right now. So this is what we got so far. So now what we want to do is we want to make some buttons. So what we're going to do is go to the end, and we're going to type in a beer to start a new line. Beer slash. And then create a new line, and what you're going to type is input type equals button, and then give it a style, and what we're going to do is make the height 64 pixels and the width 64 pixels, and then you're going to give it as value as button 1, or we'll just type in 1, and an ID equals button 1, and that's pretty much it for the button. And then put a slash, and now what you're going to do is copy this 3 times. So now what we do is we change this to button 2, the ID, and change the ID to button 3, and then change the value to 2, and change the value to 3, and already it's starting to look good. Now you notice there's a little bit of space. That's because that's where the plus and minus sign go. So let's create the plus and minus sign. So what you're going to do is you're going to copy the same code, so 1, 2, and then what you're going to do is you're going to change the width to 32 on both, and you're going to change the value to plus and the value to minus, and then we'll make it button plus and button minus. So now already we have a plus and minus sign. Now what we want to do is we want to create a new line, and then what we're going to do is we're going to select all this code, well, not the text box, and we're going to copy it and paste it, and let's make this nice and neat in its tabs. And what we're going to do is change the value to 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, and 6, and then over here also make it 5, and 6, and then change button plus to button stir, and button minus to button slash, and then make this a stir, and then make this a dividing sign. Okay, now let's copy this code again, so Control C and Control V, And now what we're going to do is make this button 7, 8, and 9, and make this also 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, and we'll change button stir to button 0. So instead of the multiplication sign, make it a 0, and instead of the division sign, we'll make it equals. So now as we scroll down, we'll change this to button equals just to make it more reasonable. And now this already looks pretty good, so let's see how it looks. See, it's already like the actual design. So we're almost done with the design. Now in this code we're also going to be using hidden values, which is values that don't show, so the user doesn't see it. So what we're going to do is input type equals hidden, and ID for the first hidden value we'll put hidden equation, and then value, and we'll make the value, how about we'll make it change to 0, and then we'll make it a slash, and then what we're going to do is we're going to copy this. Whoops, press Control Home instead of Control C. So Shift Home, Control C, Control V. And then what we're going to do is we're going to change this from hidden equation to type of equation. So type of equation. I spelled it wrong. You know what? It doesn't matter how I spell it. And then we'll change this to type. And you know what? I'll just copy this. Okay. So even though I spelled it like that, you're going to have to remember how you spelled it. So then copy this one more time and paste it, and then we're going to just make this text 2. I don't feel like typing a lot, and we'll make this second number. Okay, so now we got all the hidden and we're done with the form. So hooray! So this is how it looks, and this is the actual design. So now what we want is we want the form to have a border and a fill color, I guess. I mean, you don't have to do this. This is just something basic that I'm doing. So if you want, you could. So yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in style, and now what we're going to do is we're going to make it have a background. So click background, and just give it a color of red. Well, give it whatever color. Then give it a border. So type in border style, and then give it any border. I'm going to give it a rigid border. And then what we're going to do is we'll give it a border color, and I will make the border color blue. So blue is, I'll use the actual code just to make it look cooler. 00 FF 00. I think that's blue. OTB red, green, blue. Yeah, no, that's green. So 00 FF. Okay. So now if we debug this, let's see it. So now it looks good, except we see this whole big line. So let's get rid of that. So to get rid of that, we have to give it a width and a height. So we're going to give it a width of 283 pixels. So width, and we're going to give it 283 px and semicolon. Boom, it's perfect. So that's all. It's pretty cool. And now we're done with the design.